You know, like when you're talking and you're kind of flicking your head backwards and forwards all the time.
No, it's like table tennis. No, we have the golden seat for the guests.
And if you want to see anything controversial, that's your camera.
That's your camera there.
Right.
So,
You look straight at it.
So look it right in the eyes.
Look it right in the eye. Yeah. We'll do that thing. We'll focus in quick like that. Poof, poof, poof.
Got lots of people I want to see.
That's quite full. That's quite full. That
It is
cup.
a full
it's like a joke, isn't it?
It's
a lip scholar.
It's like, can you drink this without spilling it and burning your tongue?
Let's humiliate the Geordie.
Hey, hold on. Because you've just signed the wall with the Toon thing, that could be a new segment in the podcast. Let's humiliate a Geordie. Just bring in like a different Geordie in every podcast.
Just bring me on and you can humiliate me. You can't
replace the Greg's order. How Greg's? What's Mowian?
So are we rolling, by the way?
We're
always rolling, mate.
Always rolling the door. So just so I know, David, are you sitting back? Are you going to sit forward? Because I'm going to have to adjust the mic.
I'm all over the shop, man.
All right, okay.
I'm not very good at being still all the
time. Sat there, just when move it with you, and then you kind of do that. Right?
So if we did a little shout out to Michael Dixon from Dixon's Butchers. Michael's nearly out that door. He's sliding off the sofa.
I think it's the first time. All I had to say, Michael, you're leaving frame. We've never had anybody leave frame before. Like, so.
Leave frame.
Leave frame. Yeah. The new album by Michael Dixon, Leave Frame.
Sounds like a really good album already. So you might notice I've come with this, and I think you might be a little, because I mean you don't know me at all,
I haven't got a clue who you are.
So you might be a bit worried.
It's nice to do this, though, but I
like this story.
I like it because I like fresh conversations and getting to know someone.
You'll definitely know me by the end of this. Okay. I'm like an open book. Although when Chris first asked us ages ago, do you fancy coming on? Because I've been singing your praises of the podcast for so long.
Have you? Thank you very much.
By the way, I keep thinking I'm not allowed to swear, man.
You can do what you want because we keep swearing in, or we can bleep it out. But the fact is, it's just like,
I'm not sweary for purposeful sake. I use it as just part of my normal language.
Like a peppering of language.
Well, I'm not going to swear then. I'll try not to. But I said to Chris, what the F are you wanting me on your podcast for? You know, it's that long since I've done anything, like this, or had anybody even slightly interested in anything I've got to do or say, for that matter. And he's like, obviously, said some lovely things about us, which I still can't quite believe. I'm sure you were on crack at the time, Chris, but I'm flattered to be here, and I genuinely am delighted to be here. And at first, I was a little bit sort of, God, what the hell? But I've got so much to talk about and say, and obviously listening to the vast majority of your podcast, it's not just about food.
It's not at all.
And obviously I'm not a local hero, and I'm not even involved really in food now. So it's, that was my first, I think, if I had any insecurities, why the hell do you... I'm not, some of the guests you've had on, the likes, Kenny and, the guys from Latimer's and, Heather Mills, for God's sake, A-list there, and obviously Sai and everybody else. But then you've had people like Tom on. Last week you've had lots of people from different arts and different waves of life, I guess.
We're interested in everybody. That's the whole point. That's
the whole point of that. Life. You just said you're not that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is the whole point in that, but... Because it winds me up all the time. People are like going, right, what do? You need to have one thing. Well, do you listen to one type of music? No. So for me, it's that. Do you watch one kind of film? Depends what mood you're in. I think that's the whole point in life. It's variety, isn't it? It is. We're trying to just get lots
and I think it's a great thing. It's what makes a podcast like really, really special. And I'm not just saying that. And it's improved as it's gone on. So I remember listening to your very first one.
It was a shit from the first.
And I thought, obviously,
this is where my brain goes. So it's shit.
Well, the first one we were literally, we're not making it up as we went along, but there was no script, and that's become our thing now. But at that point in time, we were still second guessing whether that was the right thing.
We weren't ready for Sai, and we just came in and went, right, we're recording. I'm like, all right, okay, this is it. It's happening now, So it's kind of we had to do it, and you got to go in both feet, haven't you?
Well, in long may it continue, and obviously, I think you've done 40 odd now, early 40s or late 30s, I think it is.
This weekend we're releasing my 37th tomorrow, but we've recorded 41.
Something like that,
I mean, you must be pinching yourselves, and I think it's a great thing. And like you alluded to there, your first one was Si. I mean, somebody like Si, who's obviously got his place around the corner there, I found out loads about it. I thought I knew a lot about him. I've met him a couple of times myself. And I actually didn't realise he was bloody Mackham. Start talking about going to Roker Park and all that. He's gone right down in my estimation. I'm only joking, by the way.
So he had a complicated relationship, didn't he? So he was a Geordie in Mackham disguise. He was. Because when he's a Newcastle fan, but his brother's not.
Well, that's it. He kind of swings between the two, doesn't he? And he's from over that neck of the woods as well. So it's an unusual one. But I remember his story was really good, where he came in, had the hot pie, and you kind of it's your first love, isn't it, when you walk into the ground that you first get taken to. Mine was unfortunately St James's Park, the only thing my dad ever did for us. And he buggered off, never saw him again. He left us with a curse of supporting Newcastle for the rest of my life. Yeah. But it was the same thing, walking in, hot pie, and stinking away, and, horrendous standard of football. And
do you remember the game?
Of course, I remember pretty much. I remember the team we played. I remember we played Wrexham. It was in 1980. I was 10-year-old. We played Wrexham. I've never been so excited in all my life. 10-year-old, walking up, what was like a mountain of steps, the waft of...
I was going to say Weetabix. Didn't everything smell of hops at that time?
I don't...
Do you remember that?
It just stunk of many things that invaded my senses. And I've got like...
There's a brewery then, I know.
It would have been.
The brewery was right there. So the hops was always in the air.
Because in Sunderland, the brewery top, you could smell the hops in there,
But that kind of adds to the romance, doesn't it? And it hopefully cuts through all the modern crap you get now with modern football. The mountain, and then walking over and almost catching your breath as you saw the green of the pitch. Even though St James's Park wasn't the best ground in the world, and it was a pretty impressive stadium now, but back then it was like... But you don't think about that then. And then watching this, what was obviously a poor game, we lost 1-0 to Wrexham. I remember our star striker was Alan Shoulder at the time.
What a name.
Somebody we got from Blythe Spartans, like a local lad from the pits and all that, and he missed a penalty. Di Davies was the Wales and Wrexham keeper, so he was like a star. In inverted commas, he saved the penalty. We lost 1-0, and I walked out with a big beam on my face, and everyone was moaning and groaning and effing and whatever. I loved it, man. Of course, that's your love. And then it's took us how long? 45 years to see us finally win something.
But does it still feel the same when you go to a match?
No,
that feeling.
I still get excited. I'm a season ticket holder. I still get excited because it's my team, but it's very what's the word now? I find it's quite sanitized now, football. Even we brought the flags in, when the takeover happened and all that, and the War Flags are a brilliant organisation. You've got your own here as well, and it adds to the atmosphere. There's no doubt, and the music and all that. But I'm like, I don't know. I've always got this little bit of cynicism inside me, where I can't get carried away with it because I'm still thinking, where was this not long ago?
I'm the same. Yeah, it feels like merchandise rather than it's just come from like the people.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like sort of club sponsored support.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like if this was scripted.
Yeah,
that kind of thing, isn't
I feel that way all the time.
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Exactly.
Do you know what it is? I feel exactly the same way about rehearsed fucking celebrations of footballers. When I watch footballers doing, you're thinking they've spent a lot of hours in the mirror practicing that. Whole like,
and you see the young lads doing it though. No,
try like Alan Shearer. What happens is just a fist pump and that, and like running away, getting excited.
What there used to be? There was.
I've just said that's why I like Alan Shearer on the podcast.
Sorry, could you just repeat that again, please, Chris?
Davey Sheila, this guy that used to play for Kate said.
Alan Shoulder.
Alan Shoulder. That was it.
Yeah.
Alan Shoulder.
Alan Shoulder. There was a footballer that just kind of picked the ball up out the net and then just took it back to the centre line. Was that a thing? I mean, I'm well out of football.
Was it old school strikers like Duncan Ferguson or Les Ferdinand? You think in Newcastle they were like that, weren't they? Or just like, let's get on with it.
Foreign kind of player or something like that.
I can't remember when I first started the whole, but I remember. I mean, I was like, I I've got exactly the same feeling about anything that's rehearsed that we've just said about the flags. I felt that way about Mo Farah when he started doing the old thing.
Oh,
and that was like when he started sanitising sport.
That was the more boss.
Yeah, that was it.
I just blame social media. I mean, social media is to blame.
Thing, yeah, but you get a thing, and then that becomes your thing. Then you have to keep doing the thing because that becomes your identity now. As the thing,
exactly
oneself.
Yeah.
Well, media, and especially football, pop, anything like that, popular, whether it be pop music or popular football teams, footballers, or anything like that, television. They've got to have some kind of a tag to get the kids in, because that's where the money is. And the kids fall in love with them. Next thing they're copying their celebrations or their hairstyles or, whatever it is. And then they're making millions overnight, really. And that adds to the romance of them, I guess.
It does. I think it becomes it does, but it becomes a brand. I mean, this is quite a good point. I'm watching Bake Off this week. And I'm forgetting the girl's name, but she's got alopecia and she's got like a bald head. Yes. So I'm watching her now, but she's great. She's very kind of likable. She's got character there. Visually, she's unique and she's different. And I'm like, well, that's a marketer's dream right there. And you know this as well as we do. It's about that. That sells you more than the actual talent that you have. You can kind of train it up, but it's how can you come as a package? And I think that's what everybody's become now. And I do find TV chefs are very similar as well.
Well, they are. Of course they are. And obviously it's moved on a lot, TV. Chefdom, if you like, from, back in the days, when you had, people, basically making things up on the spot, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you can think of the most famous person there straight away. Glass of wine. I'm going to give you some clues here. A cigarette in his hand.
I love Floyd.
Keith Floyd, who's my hero.
Yeah.
And I met him not long before he died. God bless him.
Did you?
I did, yeah. I went to watch him in Durham and I met him and he was drunk. And it was a little bit sad, really.
Yeah.
He was on stage, but smoking had being banned by them, but he was still lighting up cigarettes.
Because he was truly authentic, though, wasn't he? So that was himself on screen, wasn't it? I mean,
he was as real as they come, and obviously it was him and a cameraman, and he didn't care. And if you watch back some of the Floyds now, it was quite staggering what he got away with.
Oh yeah.
And also going into. I remember watching Floyd in Italy, and he went into one of these kitchens in Italy where they basically didn't want him there. And you could tell the chefs all had fags in their mouths, right? Making their pizzas and the pasta and all that. And he's like, he's got some flour here. And then he was going on like this. And you could just tell they was swearing back at him in Italian and they didn't want him there. He didn't care. He just didn't care. At one stage, he grabbed a bottle of wine, just took a swig from the neck. But that's what I loved about him because even though he was obviously a well-educated, upper-class bringing, he was as down to earth as they come, I think, when it came to things like that. Whereas now, like you just said there, Dan, it's very, very, that's become sanitized now. Yeah. They've got so many people fluffing around them, doing everything for them, and the hair's got to be perfect, makeup caked on, and I don't know, let's bring the realism back, yeah?
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I think if you have a character and you double down on who you are, because Ricky Gervais gets away with it, because he owns it and he doesn't apologise for who he is, and he seems to have been accepted for that kind of character. So I do think there's a way of doing it as long as you don't involve other people and it's not attacking anybody. I mean, like Floyd, and for me, it's entertainment, right? It's great to watch, but you wouldn't like him at your own dinner table because he'd be an absolute nightmare. Do you know what I mean?
He's probably a total knobhead.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think
watching it, right. You want to watch it. It's like going to a circus. You want to watch the circus, but
it's the best. It's the best. It's just the best television.
Yeah.
And then obviously coming from there, you had like the likes of Rick Steen, obviously, who appeared on one of his shows, Floyd and Fish, and worked with him as well for a bit too. And his cookery shows, I think, still have that down to earth element. He's quite uncomfortable on camera.
Yeah,
he's still not 100% sure he should be a TV chef, star, or whatever.
But the thing is, as well, with him as well, he's been quite public about his own personal life, and that sort of. I'm not saying there's like sadness about it, but his humanity comes out on TV, doesn't it?
I think so.
And he's like vulnerability and stuff like that.
I think so, Chris, because he's still. I love to see, especially a man, it's like sort of showing his weakness a little bit on television. rather than this bravado that men often put on all of the time, which is always a front to impress. I still think he's quite down to earth.
Yeah.
I think he'd be all right at the table. Dan, I think, him and Keith Floyd would be interesting. I think they probably didn't get on so well, but they probably respected each other.
I think is that though, but I think in any industry you kind of have a level of respect. You don't have to get on, but as long as you respect the game, I think that should take precedent over everything. If you have a bunch of chefs in a room, like anyone, actors, comedians, you just go, you've been through it and you've been through a journey, so I respect the game because you've made it in your own right. But for me, the importance is being you. I want people to be you. I know I keep banging on about Jamie Oliver, but I think I've seen him far too much and he hasn't gone away. And it really gets on my nerves that no one else has got a chance to come up.
You want on the podcast though, Jamie? If you,
I was going to say, he might correct you there.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not allowed to speak how I feel because that's upsets somebody else, and that might put off. No, it's not. Let's have prove your point. Come on, you know what I mean? Prove your point.
Dan, it's your podcast. Equal shares. You can say what the hell you want.
Yeah, but if you get, you're not going to have him on because you said something. No, I want him sitting there. I want to quiz him about that whole thing. Like, I understand it's a business, but like, Jamie, why do you have to sell your wife, your kids, a different home? What is it? Is it rustic? Am I making stuff out of pots? And then you've got like 60 quid out the pantry. I don't understand it. Just to sell a book at Christmas time in a TV show, it's a business. I get it, but
it's a cycle as well, isn't it? Once you get into that world,
but your business has overcome the authenticity of who you actually are.
I agree,
and I think that to me, that's what's bugging us. Yeah, as a guy, I love him, but he's too much. It's like anybody's too much.
It's sanitized.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying. You're absolutely right. By the way, you're a big fan of Jamie Oliver, I can tell, but you're right, though. I think this is the whole point.
I've got some of his signed books actually in the house if you want some.
I'm actually a big mate of him. Get him on the show next week if you want.
Wait outside for you.
Yeah, he is. But just, obviously we started off with football and opinions on it, and you ask, Chris, do you still feel the same? And the reason I don't is I think because now the commercialism, the sanitization of it all, and it transfers directly into media, whether it be, which is what my point earlier about music, TV, chefs, television, whatever it is, and the stars and the people who are involved have to have this front on all of the time. Whereas Keith Floyd, I think he's always going to be just Keith Floyd. And Keith Floyd always was. He's not around, bless him. But Rick Steen would be. I still think that same person. That's just my opinion. But you're right, and it's sad to see, really. You look at it and you see all of them, and you even, obviously, we're going to come on to MasterChef, but you see people on there and they're just desperate to be TV chefs or the next great thing, and it's like, oh God, why? Where's the passion? Where's the heart and soul? Where's the meaning? What is it just because you want to be rich through being glamorous in food, or where's your knowledge? Your passion, that's a thing I think that's missing. Whereas Jimmy Oliver, I think he genuinely does have the passion. I think he is a real lover of food. He's a brilliant chef, and as much as you got all that fluffiness around it, he still means what he cooks.
He does, but it's the agreement to go, all right, let's do this time. How can we reinvent this over and over and over and over again? You're not, and it just feels disingenuous. It really does, because it's like,
I agree.
Series 14 or something. I even personally think MasterChef and all the shows, it was great 10 years ago, but it's just too much. Kind of make another show.
You said our podcast's not going to get to 14 series, like.
I will finish it.
By the way, lads,
we'll be done.
There's an elephant in the room still here, which is what I was actually going to talk about right at the start. And the reason why I need to get it out of the way is because it might go off.
All right,
sitting here.
Well,
all this poison in the air.
That's good.
So when I was coming, all this anti-celebrity chefs, But no, that I think I was thinking. Obviously, I'm coming over to Sunderland. I love it here, by the way. I've been a few times. But funnily enough, never been to Sides place. So
have you not?
I might treat myself because it's always been shut.
I do.
It's always been shut when I've been
Friday.
here. Yeah. So I'm going to pop there for my lunch and get an expensive pie. But I was thinking, what can I get? My I'm very passionate Mackems, yeah.
I'm not a Mackham, man.
Yeah,
I'm not.
but
listen, debate though, innit? I'm not a Mackham. I love how people still go, but you are.
As far as I'm concerned, you support Sunderland, you're a Mackham.
Well, you're a sand dancer.
I'm a sand dancer.
I mean, I don't even know all these
Obviously, all my mates, it was 50-50.
You're a
I still
Mackham, right?
push back.
You're an SMB, okay? So I was thinking, what can I make? And I thought, well, I've got to make something that is to do with maybe it's associated with the area, and something I know the lads would like, and probably snap your hands off as well.
Chocolate pasty.
It's a brick.
I've heard pasties talked about on this show far too many times. And there you go.
Oh, hey, red my tub as well. What is it?
Do you know what it is?
Is it pinky slice?
It's a pink slice.
Oh,
it's two pink slices, hence why, the person who's doing all the hard work over here, you're going to have to give up one of your pink slices.
Go on. Can you? Go on.
And I can tell you now, it's a sugar bomb and a half.
Oh, mate. When you made them?
Made them last night.
It's
got weight to it.
It's weight to that, mate.
Well, if I make anything, I make it like, and
oh, mate, look at that.
I do some.
It'll do what's intended. There you go.
Oh, mate, that looks incredible.
But it's a swirl of raspberry jam on the top there.
It's got a canny base.
You won't need your dinner once you've had that, put it that way. There's a story around a pink slice.
Oh, man.
Because I've noticed you got this here.
Yeah.
When I walked in, I thought, that's a coincidence as well.
So you'll get all the little nods to local food heritage. Then.
Nods to local food. So do you know the history of the pink slice?
Come on.
You're going to get lots of fascinating stories.
I've heard loads of versions, but I want to know.
So it's associated with Sunderland, right? Yeah. And I was thinking, well, why is it associated with Sunderland? Why? There's only two foodstuffs I can think of from this area that are associated with the area. Pink slices and, can you guess?
Panackelty.
Well, Panackelty's Geordie, man. Northumbrian, really. Cheesy chips. Though two very healthy choices there for Mackhams. So, but I was looking into it, and it actually, for some reason, it's been adopted here in Sunderland, but it actually doesn't come from Sunderland. Do you know where it comes from?
Oh, come on. You're going to shatter it.
Can you? I am going to shatter it. I'm sorry anyone from Sunderland listening to the show.
Watching everything just disintegrate in the background.
No, I think it's good that Mackhams have adopted another healthy snack to associate with the area.
That's French for pink.
But it comes from, and you might remember this from when you were lads, the Biro cookbook.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the Biro cookbook.
One on the shelf,
I've got one,
The best banana bread. Just get it out of there.
Biro cookbook is where everyone learned to bake. I did when I was a kid. My missus did. We've still got like a really old one in the house that Helen's got from our nana.
Yeah, leek pudding then.
But 1923, the first Biro cookbook was printed. And do you know where Biro comes from?
Gateshead, isn't it?
Newcastle. It comes from Biro was short for Bells Royal. Yeah. Okay. And Bells Royal were the company, the Biro company, were a company that were born in the late 19th century. Can't remember the guy's name now. Don't know him very well. But they were the first company. They were like a bit like a supermarket, like a grocery company. But they were the first company to produce self-raising flour, right? And Bells Royal was like the raising agent that was associated with it. So they used to market their self-raising flour as Bells Royal. And then a famous king died at the time. Can't remember who it was. And they found that they couldn't use the word royal anymore. So what they did was they abbreviated Bells Royal to Biro. And then the Biro cookbook came out because it became famous for doing floured goods.
But that was like a marketing tool, wasn't it, the book?
It was, yeah. And then Biro became famous into Northeast Book, which actually became famous nationwide and probably across Europe in some places. And I don't know anybody who's not heard of Biro, especially blokes of our age.
A lot of people are surprised when you say it's the Northeast, though.
Yeah. And that's where it comes from. Yeah. The Biro book was actually first printed 1923. The pink slice was in there.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's been associated with Sunderland. But you know what? It's probably because it's red and white, yeah? You've got your beautiful shortbread, sandwich shortbread, and then you've got that delicious pink icing on the top, and I've done a posh chefy swirl on the top.
That's nice, I like
that
it.
Looks lovely.
Yeah.
If you're not laughing, you're learning, lads.
I would love it if somebody had an original copy of the Biro book somewhere. Because we had really old ones. I had like one from the 50s or something.
We got one from the 50s.
From Sarah's mum. And it's got like the covers like slips off because it's not attached anymore. But it's thin, Just that one long thing. Yeah,
they were always like
all the
that.
same, like little pamphlets.
Check the date. Check the date of it.
And even with my kids, I'm like, right, we're going to make scones, champion. Go and get the B-roll book, and that's where you start.
There's no better book, I think, when it comes to basic baking, learning the basics, cakes, scones, shorts, anything like that.
Is it like the LaRousse of the North?
It's definitely the LaRousse of the North, yeah.
Isn't it?
God, I love that book. Yeah, like a food nerd.
Yeah, it is.
But no, it's there you go. Anyway, that's yours to share because it's not all for yours.
Alice, sorry, I've got me customary question for you.
Yep, go for it.
Is the B-roll a thing in your world? I always treat you like you're sort of like 80 years younger than me or something, well, like a deficit, but like, is it?
Depends if you hasn't watched Back to the Future, or have you?
I have seen Back to the Future, but I don't think we ever had a B-roll book. I think me Nana might have, but it was never really a thing in our house. My mum just knew how to make stuff and should just make it.
Yeah. So do you feel the burden of responsibility to correct that in your life?
I want to see if I can find one.
Well, Alice, I mean, ask anybody in your family about the B-roll book.
Yeah.
Now you've heard about it, and I can guarantee
someone
the
will have
older
it.
members of the family should have make a pink slice.
Okay. I'm not being funny, right? There's a serious note to it in that I think, like, if you look at all the stuff that's going on now in the colleges and the skills deficit and people can't cook, the B-roll informed a generation of people who know how to make a baseline of things.
Yeah, they did. Well, obviously you got people, we're talking about celebrity chefs, trying to get people in the house to cook. Jamie Oliver's been there. Gordon Ramsay's been there doing these books to try and get people to go back to basics and 5 ingredients and all that kind of thing. We were doing it way before any celebrity chefs. The B-roll cookbook.
Is this another campaign? Have we got to bring back B-roll? Like we've had the beanie. What else we had?
The beanie.
Remember the beanie?
Well,
remember from a fish and chip shop?
Beautiful.
The kids aren't drinking shandy anymore. So,
he said beautiful. He remembers the beanie.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Shandy drinkers. But I think, I'm passionate, as you know, about a little bit like yourselves, about Northeast food and, keeping things that are local cherished. And I think we should celebrate them more. Why don't we? It doesn't make sense.
So can I go back to your point that you started at the very beginning of the podcast about your self-doubt of coming on?
Mm-hmm.
And me saying nice things.
Mm-hmm.
It was very genuine, right? And this is true. Seeing you on MasterChef vindicated my entire career in food.
I still can't believe that. I saw you wrote a blog on it and I was like, what? Is he drunk?
So I'd started the restaurant, feeling my way, not really knowing what I was doing, and getting really pissed off that there was just not really like a Northeast voice talking about regional food at all. And this fella pops up on the telly. I can't remember even the year. Do you remember the year?
Now. I do, yeah. It was 2007.
2007. Pops up and what did you make?
Well,
it blew my mind. It literally blew my mind.
We'll take it back a little bit because you've brought it up, the MasterChef thing. So I applied for it. I don't know if you remember the old MasterChef series back in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, which was run by Lloyd Grossman, conjugated and all that kind of thing. And it kind of, it for some reason ended, but it was very BBC, if you remember. It was very, everything was well to do.
Conjugated and digested.
Just conjugated. Yeah, can you remember that? Can you remember the Reeves and Mortimer sketch? Can you remember that?
On his fingers.
Oh, you've got to watch.
Hovering across the floor.
It's absolutely classic. I did not eat a shoe in your restaurant. Anyway, we digress. Show pastry. It's a show pastry.
Shoe pastry.
You've got to get Bob Mortimer on.
Oh, we're on it. We're trying.
Can I come on with him? I'd love to meet him.
Bob adjacent.
Yeah.
So they reformed it. They sort of remastered it. It brought back as MasterChef Goes Large back in 2005.
Goes Large?
MasterChef Goes Large.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
It's an awful title.
Some really bad contestants.
Probably quite cool then,
was it done on a double-decker bus or something?
Well, like loads of white boys in there.
Exactly. Well, exactly, but it was, wasn't it? And they tried to be all edgy with your new hosts, John Strode and Greg Wallace.
Right, okay.
Marketeer and a professional chef mixing it together, a bit of rough and a bit of posh, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, it worked, and I loved it. I watched that first series. I remember Thomasina Myers, one of who was obviously done really well. With our Mexican restaurants.
Was that then? Was that far back?
It's 20 years ago. So so that was 2005. So I thought, I'm going to go on that. And I'm going to win it, tippy cocky knobhead down from South Shields. I was living in Leeds at the time, and we'd had our first child, Keris.
So were you just a home cook then? Were you just
home cook? Never, that's all I've ever done was cook at home. Massive passion for it. Again, you can come on to that if you want to, where it was all born from. But I applied for it, and I remember they rang us up, and there was like an interview on the phone. They went, they kind of put you on the spot straight away. Tell us what's your favourite meal to make, and I was like, I love making a Rogan Josh, a chicken Rogan Josh, and I put and it's all authentic with loads of ground almonds in there, and I make my own spice paste and all, and I do obviously. And they were like, they must have thought, he sounds reasonably interesting. We'll get him over for a test. They took you over to Liverpool, and you had to take a ready-made dish. I remember I made this, I think it was like a pan-fried duck breast, spiced up. Yeah, bashed a load of roasted spices together for the skin, nice and crispy. I did like a cantaloupe melon salad with it and all that. Just simple, and took it over. And for some reason they said, yeah, you can go on the show. Went down, failed miserably. All right, I mean, I got through the very first bit, and then I failed a bit on the second, which was the identification test that they used to do at the time. And they didn't take us through. But then I got a phone call the next year saying, do you want to come back on? Because we started doing this thing where we invite contestants that we really like back on. Whatever. I fell for it, though. It's like, you like this? Oh, I'll go on there then. Yeah. So I did.
Yeah, that pet must have been that duck. Must have been that duck.
Must have been that duck. He was a bit weird, so we'll get him back on. He's interested in television. So I went on, and I thought, well, this time I am gonna try and win it, right? Because, reasonably competitive person, although I'm modest. I know me weaknesses and faults, and I'm not the best chef in the world for a long way, which was clear to many. But I thought I'm going to give it a good go this time, and I'm going to try and focus on something. It was my wife who gave us the idea. Why don't you focus on it? And why don't you focus on Northeast food? Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I went on, so I did a load of research. I did quite a lot of, obviously testing things out in my home kitchen. And I came up with a few ideas that I thought, if I get the chance, that's what I'm going to do. So I got through the first bit, I remember, where it's like the mystery test. And then I remember the second part was I did it again. It was a duck breast, and I did it with a leek pudding, right? And I called it a Northumbrian leek pudding, and they loved it, right? And they were like, "Oh, this guy, and it was all Northeast, and he loves his area where he comes from. He's passionate, and he's producing a modern representation of Northeast traditional food going back hundreds of years."
And that was it.
Yeah. I didn't know about that, but they liked it, and like I said, I did quite well. I got through to the final four, and then I failed miserably towards the end, which again we can come on to because I've got a few stories around all that. But that's where it was all born from, and obviously when I read your blog from a few years ago, I had a little tear in my eye, Chris. I just thought, that means a lot to me, and anybody who, for some bizarre reason, sees me doing a leek pudding and is influenced or inspired by it.
Because it goes somewhere deep, though, doesn't it? Like you feel, like in a region like the Northeast, you do always feel, you got that subconscious feeling of always being either under or misrepresented.
I think so.
And to see a Cockney and an Australian on TV being wowed by something that was totally humble. So. That's why. How much have I talked about leeks in the last few weeks?
We're going down the leek road quite a lot.
The leek rabbit hole.
Well, they're not celebrating enough. Leeks are a great thing. Of course, it is associated with the Northeast. The leek growers of the Northeast. We've always been famous for having allotments, and it's a very working class thing. But wow, what a beautiful vegetable that is! And there's a lot of great things you can do with it. But I stuffed it in a proper suet pudding as well. But I didn't steam it. I baked it because there wasn't time for steaming. And I put lots of, like a nice cheese mustardy sauce in there as well, where I had a bit of a kick to it. And it's a beautiful thing on its own, and great with like maybe a stew or a steak pie or something like that, I think, and that would be crust and crust, wouldn't it? But you get the idea. And again, they loved all that. And I remember I did like a triple ginger pudding, which Greg Wallace said he wanted to stick his what in, and again, sorry Greg if you're listening, but you did. Again, won't come on to all that, and also I did pan haggerty, and I remember he pulled us up after I'd done the pan haggerty. I loved it, and they were like, "Oi, Davey, you've nicked my recipe," and I went, what are you on about? And he whips his first cookbook out, which is just so happens to be on the shelf there. And he's got Panackelty in there, right? But it wasn't. There's many variations of it. And his has got garlic in it, and it's layered, and I can't remember what was in it. But I just said, I'm sorry, like, but we wouldn't have had garlic in a Panackelty. And it's a Panackelty, not a Panackelty, but that's another argument depending on which side of the water you come from. Yeah. Could bang on about this kind of shit all day.
There's nuance in that.
I actually ended up nicking that, what did you say, triple ginger?
Triple ginger pudding with a butterscotch sauce. I remember you had it in your restaurant.
You gave me the recipe, remember?
You had it in your restaurant
for 2 years.
You know what all of this, because I've been up in Northumberland filming this week, and I went to the Feathers Inn yesterday.
Oh.
They did the ginger cake. And
it was like,
what? Yeah. So what sauce we're going to do with it? And it's going to be like a sticky toffee sauce.
Does it?
With that ginger. So
butterscotch, sticky toffee, whatever you want to call it.
A bit of cloud cream on the top.
They were doing that, and also you had a leek pie as well. So you're talking about all the things which was done.
See where I'm coming from, mate?
This is a reputable restaurant.
They did rabbit, they did venison haunch.
Oh, yeah, you must feel and get that a little bit, that you had an influence.
I don't, because if you remember, back in 2006, 2007, social media wasn't around. You didn't have YouTube, Twitter, you didn't have anything like that at all. You didn't even have Facebook. You had Friends Reunited, I think, rearing its head, which became...
So when you had to book into the internet cafe to go there.
You remember that? And suddenly it was your first experience with people friending you that you didn't like at school. But anyway, and that continues.
I forgot about that.
That continues.
Was that pre or post MySpace?
It was pre, I think. It was pre. But you didn't have any of that. So as far as being an influence, I don't know. I remember having my little 2 minutes of fame when it was on, and one or two people stopping us in Asda or whatever, and looking at me basket when I was shopping, and and it didn't last very long, but that kind of thing made us feel a little bit uncomfortable, to be fair. But imagine what it would be like now with social media. You're on the first round now, and you've got 10,000 followers cooking a horrendous piece of food or burning the salad, and people, oh, you're a great chef. So it was hard to sort of make ground. So for somebody like yourself, Chris, who obviously had a pretty successful restaurant and still involved all his time in doing great things in the food sector, it means a lot to me to hear coming from the likes of yourself. I don't know many people have, though. That's the only thing. That's my disclaimer. And like I say, it's not about me. It's about the Northeast, and it's about the great things that we do here, the great food that isn't celebrated enough. And, talking about the pink slice, if someone want to associate that, sing it from the rooftops, and that's how it should be, really. Everybody else does it. I think we are underrepresented.
So your experience of MasterChef, then, you can go into it as much as you want. Obviously you haven't just seen the sort of food and drink industry change, you've seen how TV's changed as well.
Yes.
Over the last 20 years. Do you think if let's say you went to MasterChef now, what do you think your future would have looked like if you went into MasterChef in this era compared to then?
Well, I'd have to be a younger lad, and obviously, in some ways, I wished I'd gone on there as a younger person back in the 90s, and I probably would have made a go of it in the food sector. I've always had a lot to give. There's no doubt. Anybody that knows me, you should be a famous chef. You should be in a restaurant, again, which is very flattering, and I take it with a pinch of salt. But I've got a huge passion and knowledge for food anyway. I write about it. I cook it all the time. I invent recipes still. And anybody that wants to need to write for them, I'm happily do it and create recipes. But I've never took it any further than that.
What's been the block?
Done a lot of presenting and stuff like that. Sorry, Chris?
What's been the blocker to stop you from doing that?
I was probably a bit too old. I remember when I'd finished MasterChef, I sort of had a little stint up at the Black Door.
Well, that's where we met, mate.
It was, remember? It was, and literally, I went in the kitchen a couple of times for Dave and peeled a few potatoes and kind of. I think because I had a young family and there wasn't much money in it and all that, and I was also at the wrong end of 35. I probably thought I'm probably coming into this a bit late. Now, knowing what the restaurant sector's like and the amount of restaurants that are sadly closing and the amount of pressures that are on people, I would probably be setting myself up for a big fall. I don't know. These are all the great unknowns. But one thing I would have done was put everything into it. And I think now, because to answer your question, really, Chris, MasterChef and the likes, they've become shows for people, I think, who want to write a cookbook, or they want to become famous or have the 5 minutes of fame. It inevitably doesn't end out like that. It's a big crash and a fall, really. Again, I can come on to that. But they kind of set you up and then just let you down really, really badly. And you've got to fend for yourself. But I think it's a lot easier now to make a name for yourself because of social media.
Well, you can make a name for yourself now if you fail. That's the thing.
Of course you do. Exactly. You're absolutely right.
But, I mean, you can make a name for yourself not even on the TV, because who's watching TV? And it's that kind of stuff, because I don't watch it. But it's just because it's had its time with me.
Yeah.
You know, when you're just newly married and it's the only thing on the telly and it was the top of the list and social media's not around, then that's what you watch, you know. But now it's not, and I don't know where everybody else is, but I think everyone else is online. I mean, you sent me, you know, Gary Yates this week, and it's just a fella in his 50s going around reviewing food. Now it's exciting, has a following, but you could just do that, but you don't know if it's going to work. That's the thing.
YouTubers are probably getting more success now, and
they
good
are,
on them as well. You know, I mean, they don't have to pay any overheads for it. They're making their own content and some brilliant content out there. Some terrible content as well. But
that's what I'm saying. There is some bad stuff, but it still gets a following. It's just because of people gravitate to a certain type of personality or a person. It doesn't mean to say it has to be good. It's just that's the way it is. There's a massive risk in that, though. I mean, you could do this yourself and be great and fly and do your own thing, but you got to put time and effort in. You got to put yourself out there, and is it going to work? Have you got the time? There's so many factors that go into it, you know.
There is, and there's also a right time and a right place.
You're right,
but also a right face for television or a right face for radio.
Yeah.
I remember going down to it was about a year on from MasterChef, and at the time I was doing like food presentations, teaching people. I was doing this work team with a guy called Mark Herndon. We did Expo Chef.
Yeah, I remember that.
And we did that for a time, and he'd be an interesting fella to have on. I mean, I don't see him
still around.
Yes, I still speak to him now and again.
For Gateshead Council, I remember.
He does something for like food and autism and all that kind of thing. Anyway, but I teamed up with him, and I don't know why I went down that route. And really, what I should have done was gone down my own route. Yeah, and I sort of the MasterChef tag came hand in hand with that. And I ended up teaching schools, food markets, at Eldon Square plenty of times and all that, hosting the weekends. I used to love all that kind of thing. But what I should have done was really focus on myself and, you know, going back to what you're saying about being a marketer, marketed myself a bit more, the Northeast tag. But I didn't know what to do. I was just too genuine and just being myself and doing what I wanted to do, really. And it's hard. I remember a year after MasterChef, I'd entered a competition, funnily enough, in the Observer Food Monthly, and I won it, right? I did this, it was like it was a whiskey squash pudding I made, right? And for some reason I won it. I won Best Dessert. They do these annual awards, and I got invited down to London, and I was like, oh, hang on, this is all happening again here. Me and Helen went down, all suited and booted. There was a few stars and celebs there, went on stage, and, you know, my name in lights, got a nice trophy for it and stuff like that. But I met Nigel Slater, and at the time I was writing for a local magazine called Flavours of the North, I think it was called, and it was just me and another guy. He was the main person, the editor, and I basically did most of the content, going around interviewing local people and all that. And I got chatting with him, and I asked him for some advice. And I said to him, obviously, I'm a massive fan of you, and I have been for some time. He's more a writer than a TV person, I think, you know, going back to what we were saying before. And I said, I'm a struggling food writer. How can I just get to that next level? Not asking for any favours, like him saying, oh, I'll introduce you to somebody or something. It was more like just some advice. And he went, it's tough. Think about it, this was 18 years ago he was telling me this. He says, it's really tough, Dave. He says, you know, I got my break. I was a struggling writer, but I got my break because it just so happened I knew Sophie Grigson, who used to be the chief food writer for The Observer and The Guardian, and she was going on holiday for a month or something, and she just said, Nigel, do you fancy filling in for me? And I got my break through her, and he became a guest columnist for 4 weeks. And then on the back of that, somebody took a chance on him and did his first TV series, and he says, you've got to be on television to make it now.
Yeah.
And he says, and as soon as I was on television, Everything started
The
to sell.
TV stuff supported his books, didn't it? So he brought out Toast and all of that.
Did I? And he's brilliant. He's a fantastic writer. Not so good on television, but I still love watching him.
Yeah.
But he's a brilliant writer. I could read his books all day. He's a beautiful writer and a great, really lovely guy as well. But that's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's really brutal.
Tough, but it's being able to do that thing which you don't really want to do to sell the other thing to do what you really want to do. But it's opportunity, and it's grabbing it with both hands when it arises. But what happens if it doesn't arise? It's tough, isn't it? You know.
Well, I've got no regrets. Yeah, I mean, I try not to regret anything. There's always things you can do better and look back, think, reflect. I would have done that better. There's no doubt about it. I wish I was working in food. I wish I was doing something like what you guys do. I've got a lot to give, and I've got a lot of passion for it, but I don't, and I've got to pay me bills, and I've got to look after my family, and that's what comes first. So that was really it was a sense of survival. I think if I was on my own, no missus, no kids, I would have took a lot more risks and tried things out and gone for it a bit more. But it wasn't to be. And hey, you never say never. I'm in mid-50s now. If anybody wants to take a chance on a writer, and or even just going out and interviewing people and celebrating the Northeast, I'm all theirs. But it's a tough business, and you know this yourself, guys. It's hard, isn't it, to make headroads? Can I tell you another story? Because I'm digressing all the time. Your first guest on the show, Si, I met him. So I met him at a food market up in Northumberland when I was doing the Expo Chef thing. I was presenting. I can't remember where it was. The Hairy Bikers were along that weekend. I met them both, had a good chat on with them. And I was doing presenting that weekend. And I got the numbers off them, kept in touch with them a little bit, the odd text here and there. It's not who I am now. And I remember a couple of lads from Shields who were involved in a local theatre company, like acting company, who had this idea for a TV show. And I was like, lads, I know you think that I know my stuff, and I don't, just because I've been on bloody MasterChef, and I know a couple of people that don't. But this is, but you know Si King, and you know the Hairy Bikers, can you? So I got in touch with Si, and funnily enough, he came and met us in Panny's in Newcastle, right? And we sat down. He came in, everyone was high-fiving him as he walked in. He sat down with him, lovely down-to-earth guy, as you know, because you've been with him for a few hours. And he went, how can I help you, lads? And we told him what idea, and he just gave with the brutal hard facts of television. And he told us about his story and how they got on, how they got rejected so many times, and then somebody took a chance on them, 2 blokes from the north, on bikes, travelling around the world, making food. They're not trained chefs or out like that. Well, it became a massive hit, didn't it? And they've done very well out of it. They're rich guys, and good on them as well. But because they've never really lost that down to earthness and the spirit. And I took that advice then. I just thought, this is going to be a hard slog. How the hell are we going to get this off? And we never ever launched that idea. We never took it any further.
Yeah, I think that's probably where we've come from with this, though, because we've had the same conversation with Si. We know the realities of that world, and no matter how strong the idea is, if you're not the right face, or it's not the right time, or it's not the right channel, or it's not the right approach to that type of content, it's not going to happen.
I'm never going to have the right face for television, Chris.
We've never got face for it. But we've always said
it's never the right time. You don't start
concept is the creation of our own world, because otherwise, if we asked for this from anybody else, they wouldn't give us it.
I think you're right. And also, you talked about, time and a place and all that. There's no doubt about it. With a daughter who's a budding actress, she wants to be in London. Why? Because that's where people get the breaks. That's where the big production companies are, the theatre companies, the television companies. That's where the celebs are. That's where, if you're going to make it, and sadly, that's why I do think, especially up here in the Northeast, we are underrepresented on the television and in the world of food. Therefore, anybody that is involved in any way, you need to talk about it more, keep singing about it and celebrating what we've got. Because it's a beautiful area, isn't it, the Northeast? Full of great people, of course. And we've produced some amazing food, such as the pink slice.
Can I go back to your MasterChef thing? And like on a serious track, because you referenced people crashing afterwards. Did you?
Oh, definitely. So I remember they get into your head like, you're going to win this. They get right into your head.
So the producers are kind of helping you, egging you on, keeping your spirits up,
They're very
making
clever.
sure you're kind of there.
Yeah, of course
and
they are.
full of beans, so you'll put your maximum in front of camera, yeah.
They're very clever how they do it. And you know when you see MasterChef and you kind of see this off-camera thing where it looks like they're talking to somebody like that. Yeah, I really mean it, yeah. And, you know, and you say all this kind of thing. And, yeah, I've loved food all of my life and I've cooked all day, every day. You know,
it's not how you talk. It's that it's edited around.
It's edited and they ask you specific questions, but they get you to believe that you're going to win it. Otherwise, why the hell would you be on there? Yeah. And I remember very specifically, John and Greg, any moment, they would say, David, do you really want to be on here? They kept asking us it, and I found it really strange. We're like, of course I want to be on here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm away for 2 weeks.
Me if they're asking that all the time. Like,
I've got a baby at home, my wife who's wondering where I am. You know, I want to be here because I want to win it. Do you really want to win it, though? And I'm like, I don't understand this. I don't know why you're asking us this. Exactly. But it's a very clever way of doing it. And then on the camera, of course, you're saying all the things that they want you to hear. They only want you there because it's television and they want you to be good television, yeah? So, you know, I'm in my head thinking, they want me to win this. I'm going to win this. So when you come out of it, it's a massive crash. I mean, I remember when I left, I cried. I was an emotional wreck. Again, I can digress on all of this if you want to tell you the stories. God, you're evil, you are, Chris. But you basically just let out the back door, right? Cheers, David. You've been a great contestant. See, and it's like, oh, don't keep in touch with you, anything like that. They probably do now.
So there's no like post-production, there's no like hand-holding, there's no, this is what you could expect. Or
none of that. Yeah. And it hits you hard. And somebody with my mentality, you know, who suffered over the years with, you know, the likes of depression and the like, it hits you. And you're left in a really lonely place and you feel stupid and you feel a little bit naive. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. Like
all that gloss of being...
You feel you've been used, right? Because they've kind of helped you and built you up and create a personality or pushed the side of your personality out and then off you pop.
I don't know.
That's the thing.
I'm not going to say they did that.
No. But the thing is, I know because I've seen it and I've been behind the curtain. I've been on sets and done all that kind of stuff. So I know how this operates and I know how this works. Yeah. And there's different things and different people and TVs, different films, different radios, different. They're all different, you know. I've seen a live thing on stage where they're just about to go on, and then we have journalists and producers at the side telling people what to say and what topics to bring up live on stage, and they're trolling through Twitter to go, now this is going to come speak about this, and they're pushing the actual agenda for the people on stage. It's not what they were thinking, it's what they think everybody wants to hear. So it's building a narrative.
I suspect that you're right. So you tell me on the back of these stories, I'm going to tell you now. So afterwards you come out and you start thinking about things and bells start ringing and you start recognising little things that happened.
Penny dropping.
Call it paranoia or call it reality, right? And I've talked this to my friends before and they've gone, sure? And I'm, oh yeah, of course. I was there. I know exactly what happened. So, a little bit of television insight here. Anybody who cares to ever look at them, you know, the old clips. So when it got to the semi-finals, we had to cook in a restaurant, right? Change the format all the time, and they sent me off. And this is somebody they end up having a tag on you. This guy's passionate about, you know, he loves his food, he loves his taco, but he's a bit rough around the edges. He needs some refinement. So we're going to send him to a French restaurant in the heart of London. But they didn't send me to...
They're already profiling your personality and setting the scene.
Yeah. That's what they do. Yeah. So they sent me to a French...
It's not you.
I think so.
5 things out your personality and then go with that.
Right.
Well, there was 4 of us left, yeah? So they did the same with everybody else as well. I remember somebody was doing all this fine dining stuff, you know, little, you know, small portions. They sent them to a more rustic restaurant. Me, though, it was like they're going to send me to a refined restaurant, but they sent me to the most rustic French restaurant, my type of food, where they were serving really proper French food, where it's not all nice and refined and posh. So that was a bit odd. And I remember I cut my hand trying to fillet some pheasants and all that in the restaurant. Great television. The cameras were all over that, blood dripping. Yeah. Oh, he's falling.
Fast movements, his action going on ahead.
He's struggling. He's on the ropes.
Bead of sweat hanging down off his nose. Anyway, there was a little bit like that, mind.
Can we find a shot of him where he doesn't look happy? That's why I know how it works, man.
Well, but up to then, I'd been Mr. Happy and Mr. Enthusiastic and Mr. Confident, and they probably thought, we're going to bring... I don't know, again. So, after that, right, this is where you don't see it, because I had to go and be best man for my mate in Harrogate, right? So I drove back from London, considering I had a baby at home and a wife, obviously. I drove to Harrogate. This was on the Friday night. So it was filming. It was night time driving. Drove straight to Harrogate. Wedding the next day. Couldn't drink, obviously. Did the best man. Stayed in the night time. And then I drove... I went to the hotel, we stayed in the hotel, I slept for about an hour, and then I drove all the way back to London, ready for filming on the Sunday, right? Talk about, I mean, really, we've talked about this with my friend at the time, I should have just scrapped the wedding off, he would have understood, but I wanted to honour it. And I got there, I was hanging, I was knackered. And I remember I parked my car, and I walked in, and the other 3 contestants were all from the London area, so they would have all been staying locally. They put us up in a hotel in the middle of London somewhere, and I didn't. I was the bad lad who nicked off and came back. Where's his commitment? Straight away. And I walked in. I'm not going to mention names here. The person that was in charge, the producer, the main person of the media company that ran MasterChef. But as I walked into the room, they weren't expecting me there. The other 3 contestants were on the table. That producer was there. They were all huddled up chatting, right? And I walked in, I went, morning. I went, morning, like that. And everything went, when you ever done that when you walk in the room? Everyone went really quiet. And then she went, morning. And she just huddled off. And I thought, what's going on? Yeah, this is a bit weird. And everyone was a little bit...
Because it's rude, do you know what I mean?
And everyone was a bit shady with us. And I thought, this is a bit weird. Anyway... We went in and we were supposed to cook something that was inspired by the restaurant and this, that and the other. And I just fell apart. I was absolutely knackered. And I remember I did something that I think, when you're cooking for the guests, like famous guests like Jay Rayner and that. And I think they said it was like a Sunday dinner, but not a very good one. I just totally fell apart, right? Yeah. But there was a few things went wrong, which asked questions as to how this happened. So first of all...
The oven wasn't working.
The oven wasn't working, all right. So I had to use somebody else's on the back end, so I put the panic in this. The ice cream machine wasn't working. Ice cream wasn't working. So my ice cream came out like water, right? One of the ingredients was kale, right? And they said, couldn't get your kale. And they were a bit snotty with us. I remember beforehand saying, well, there's a massive list of ingredients here, David, and we just couldn't get everything. I'm like, hang on a second, it's autumn. You can't get kale. So we've got the Savoy cabbage instead. The Savoy cabbage was rotten, right? So I had to use the best bits that I could from it. There was all these things that just weren't right, didn't sit right to me. Yeah. And I think me falling apart was exactly what they wanted. Call us paranoia and call me an idiot. And, I don't really care. But
do you remember these things didn't happen to anybody else. Were they all quite solid at the time? And
they were. I was the most confident one out of the 4 of them. So I still keep in touch with 1 or 2 of them. They're all lovely people, by the way. And, I'm glad that they did well off it and things like that. But if you watch back, you can just see I just became a total different person than I was in the other rounds. I didn't help myself by basically being awake for 72 hours and celebrating a wedding in Harrogate and driving up and down to London.
Yeah, but did they mention that before you went away? It's best not to go away and all this kind of stuff.
There was none of that. I just said, I'm best man for a wedding. I've got to be there. And they just let me go. But listen, I'm not blaming anybody. And I'm not coming across like, sour tears or anything like that. It was me. But I was probably just being a combination of being very naive, not reading the signs, definitely stupid to go to that wedding and burn the candle at both ends, so to speak. And I just wasn't ready. When it came to it, my confidence shattered. Yeah. So when I left, I was a blubbing wreck. I remember I didn't even see Greg Wallace. Greg Wallace, who I got on with really well, by the way, he didn't even come and say ta-ra. John Trout came in and just by accident went, "Oh, good luck, Davey, you'll be fine. I'll see you later. Thanks for coming." And he just literally let out the back door. And it was a long time to get myself back off the floor for that one. Like. It definitely was. And anybody that thinks that it's all glamorous when they go on, if you're a tougher person than me, great. But I think even the most toughest person maybe have been surprised of how it was maybe 17, 18 years ago. Sure, it's changed now, with the current laws and, the disclaimers and things like that you have to sign and a little bit of aftercare. You've got to be seen to be doing it now, but it definitely wasn't the case then.
They do, but they don't do it because they want to do it. They do it because they have to do it and they're being told to do it. That's the thing. That's how we've got to this now. Why are people being cancelled after 20 years? Because clearly they don't want them in and then they want them out, but they won't leave. That's why they go.
Yeah.
I know how this works. This is a game, right? And if you're not playing the game, then... they've got to shuffle the rules a little bit,
Well, the Greg Wallace thing's a really interesting one, isn't it, when you talk about being cancelled, yeah? And obviously it was hot topic this year. It was one of the big news items on celebrity television.
But why is he golden boy and all of a sudden he's the worst person in the world?
And you just said you got on with him as well, didn't you? So,
well,
I guarantee he hasn't, clearly he's not innocent, right? But the fact is that when somebody goes for you, they go for you for a reason. We don't know what that reason is, but I think behind closed doors... There are certain things that's happened when they've used all of these other things to get him out.
I'm not going to defend Greg Wallace, right? As somebody with two young girls, I'm not going to defend him, right?
Yeah.
But he was like one of your mates who would say things amongst mates that you would be, I'm glad you've said that amongst this company and nowhere else. Yeah. But him doing and saying things that he probably just thought was innocent fun. And saying it to a young lass, especially the current generation too. You got to think really carefully about what you're doing and saying. And when you're an older man, you come across as a little bit sad and pervy, and I think that's where all of this has come from. And listen, they will have sympathy for him. He's made quite a lot of millions out. He's got a massive house from it.
Yeah, you think you just go quietly and kind of.
I have to be careful because I do have a degree of sympathy, but only because. By nature of comparison, if you look at other programs, so you talk about Bake Off, like that, it's just riddled with innuendo after innuendo, things that have been said by certain people who will not yet get cancelled because at this moment in time, they're not persona non grata in the media.
But it'll come.
But that's what I mean. It'll come when it'll come 5 years
Hollywood.
time.
Yeah, but
watch your back, son.
The thing is, it is, but it's done under their control, and that's what I mean. Because I'm definitely not kind of backing him up. But the fact is that I am not backing up the producer because I know how this works, and it works exactly the same as how they did to you. Do you know what I mean? Just drop a banana peel down there, then top the vodka up with water.
It's Jerry Springer, isn't it?
It's how you do it, but it's Jerry Springer. But this is how it works. This is how production works. Yeah. You know what I mean? It kind of...
I think so. And I saw it a little bit there, and it was only afterwards I thought, oh, God, why didn't I see the signs, But no bitterness from me. End of the day, I could have done it all a lot better, and it was a great experience. And, good luck to anybody that goes on and makes a life out of it. I can't blame anybody for that. And if anything, that's what they're trying to do. How many of them actually go off and make it in restaurants at the end of the day on that particular show?
Yeah.
They want that book. They want that little bit of fame on TikTok. Remember me? All that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's become sort of like, I used to watch MasterChef religiously, but the last couple of years I've just started to, because it's going back to that sanitisation and lack of authenticity, there's the genuine people that I put you in that bracket of that I wished went on to have had a career in food, right? But there's then those sort of people that just, the ones that rock up for that round when they've all got to do the tasting.
Of course.
And they're turning up, they've got like feather boas on or something like that, and you're like, you were MasterChef a couple of years ago. You didn't win, but you're here now as like as one of the judges. Yeah. And there's that there's the other side of that world where people get so full of their own self-importance.
I think so.
And a lot of it hasn't even been earned.
I hope I'm not coming across
like that because I'm not. That's the point. See, you're the one that I wanted to get through.
I know, that's the thing.
And set the tone.
Everyone champions the Geordie, the rough lad from Shields. I think, but yeah, I think you're right. And look, I don't know. Again, you've alluded to it. You know your stuff about television. You've been there, and you've seen how it works and operates. When they were devising that show, going back to when I first talked about when the MasterChef goes large, it's been reinvented, and they brought somebody like Greg Wallace on, and people, how the hell is he on television? He's a market trader. He's been on television and he failed then. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I kind of championed him then because I thought, well, why not? Well, why do you have to have people, with a golden spoon in their mouth on television? Yeah. Why can't you have a dialect on television? Great, good on him. And to be fair, he was a good lad to an extent. He had a massive ego. Mm-hmm. He was very funny, though, very knowledgeable about his history, his rugby. He was a really funny guy. All that.
Our in-joke, which I hope I don't get damaged by association, right? Yeah. But I was telling Dan a couple of months ago, I was looking for an image for it was like LinkedIn or something like that, like for your bio.
Yeah.
And I typed in my name into Google Photos, my name, and Greg Wallace's face came up. I sent it to Dan. I went, look at this.
Hang on,
can't let this happen.
Yeah. You don't want that association now, do you? But I don't know. I mean, it's a different world now, and a man who's in his 50s, 60s. Man in his teens and 20s, you gotta understand your audience, and Alice, like you've seen this many times, I'm sure in your life. People have got to be you've got inappropriate. People say things inappropriately and think it's funny and they get away with it, and you just can't. You got to respect everybody and each other, and he was part of his own downfall, unfortunately, and I can't defend that. And if anybody ever spoke or did that to my daughters, they'd be getting a little rap on the door of me, and it is the way it goes. But television, they cut them out. That's it. We'll move on to the next one.
I just think they're a little bit late on they're a bit late to the game on it, because he hasn't just done this last week, has he?
He's done it. He was doing it on the show when I was there. They were hammered. They were hammered when I was on. They were drinking, smoking. They were hammered on that show. And we did the semi-final when they announced the final three. They were absolutely hammered, and they disappeared for ages. We were there waiting for ages. I was a crumbling wreck. I knew I'd failed because I'd messed everything up and things weren't right, and I was a blubbering wreck. And the other three would have been rubbing their hands, thinking, what's happened to Davey? He's all over the shop. Get in there. And they went off and got pissed. I heard that they were arguing about who they thought should go through the final and all that, and they had a bit of a falling out.
Is it true they don't get on, apparently? Is that true?
I don't know about that, but I don't know if it's just press or what. But we'd heard that they'd had a bit of an argument, and they had an argument over many beers and whiskies, and they were pie-eyed by the time we filmed the bit where they go, and the person leaving us is... Davey, and I just fell on the floor when I was, honestly, it was, if you look now, it's hilarious, but it's pathetic.
What did you do? Because I often, me and Helen will talk about this, she's like, you can't ever go on there. She want you to take the door for hinges in a complete huff. I
wasn't in a huff.
I couldn't do the, thanks for the opportunity.
I'd love to see somebody in the huff. You need to go on, Chris.
Are you taking
You need to go on.
Slam the spatulas across the room and that.
Pushing the trolleys over and that.
Couple them all on the end of the table.
Flick some cake batter at their faces. Bastards.
You see, I'd be a producer's dream. Because they could manipulate me to the hilt.
Yeah. Get yourself on, Chris.
All the time.
Get applying for the new season that's starting next year.
Chucking leeks and British ingredients out there. No, British ingredients out there.
Yeah.
Hang on, he's got a pink slice. Jesus Christ.
He's just twatted us over the head with a leek. I don't know. But listen, I mean, it was a great experience. And if I'd not gone on there, I wouldn't have my little 5 minutes of film with food. And, I wrote for many great publications, the Times Online give us a chance. I had a little go with them. Obviously written for a lot of North East magazines, done lots of presentations, hundreds of them really over the years. But all that's kind of fallen by the wayside now. But I still write. I still, I've got my little blog, and I still write the odd recipe. And as I say, anybody who wants to speak to us about MasterChef, such as you guys, I'm all ears.
I tell you what's topical. Actually, I'm going to move away from the food because you talk about mental health before, and it's kind of how we've stayed in touch. We've had our little message together.
It is
because we've only seen each other physically about 3 times.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What do you think about it?
I feel like you're a top mate of mine.
Totally, because we just communicate. But I remember it was a couple of years ago when I was struggling with my own mental health, and I started sea dipping.
The sea dipping, huh?
I'm just thinking we've got It's Chris Nicholas from Ice Guys.
Chris Nicholas,
one of the guests coming out.
Fantastic.
And obviously we connected over that because you do the same thing, don't you?
I do, yeah. And just on that note as well, I can recommend somebody else from Space Northeast as well, which you can talk about afterwards.
James.
But you know James.
Yeah, we've had James on.
Got his cup up there. Aye, we've had James on.
Yeah,
how come I've missed that?
No,
how far was James?
Are you being serious?
No, we've had James on.
James on now because we've done a.
Well, I hung my head in shame. I thought I'd listen to all of that.
No, I've done.
All right.
We'll send you the link to that one.
I was a good one with James. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, there you go. Top bloke. So, yeah, I know James, and I saw him a few weeks ago, actually. But, yeah, I mean, I don't do it as much now, but I exercise every day. You know, I walk, I run, cycle, swim not as much. My wife does a lot of sea dipping still. She gets the benefits of that. But I have to exercise every day, and I found that when I go in, I don't just sit there. I swim. And I found it was a chance to get a decent swim in. I'll do a mile or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I walk a lot, and I still run in the lake and cycle. And that's good for my headspace. I had a crash about 5, 6 years ago, when I hit 50, funnily enough, even though it was nothing to do with that. And I saw a different side of me that I didn't like. And I had to seek help, really. And from that, though, I think there's a lot of positives come. I talk very openly about mental health with men and women, and obviously the likes of James at Space and the guys at Ice Guys, you know, they're people who've been through it. They don't just speak it; they do it, and they're very passionate about it and far more knowledgeable than me. I was just a victim of it, so therefore I think you need to talk about it more. And you know, me and you've spoken, Chris, before, albeit on WhatsApp and the like. But you've got to talk openly about these types of things and talk about your struggles, because somebody might just associate with that or just help you get out of that hole. Sadly, and funnily enough, I was talking about with James just a few weeks ago, it's still a pandemic. And in the Northeast, it's bigger than ever. And we're still not doing enough. And there's still a lot of men and women out there who are struggling and hiding behind often the things that are accentuating that problem, such as drinking drugs. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Young lads are on coke a lot now.
Yeah.
They're over drinking. It's still glamorized, and all of that becomes a massive crash. And I think we as men, we hide behind this front, which I touched on earlier on, of being a man and testosterone. I can't be showing me weakness. Bollocks to all that, man.
And we have to overcome that. I mean, we all do it, right? But we have to overcome the whole culturally in the Northeast, we're all used to drinking a lot, because there's got to come a point in time where we move beyond that identity.
You're absolutely bang on, mate. You're bang on.
But it's bravado, and it's how we're raised as well. Dave, I mean, you know, we weren't raised with talking to each other about these kind of things.
Definitely not.
And you kept it to yourself, because if you did say something, it was a sign of weakness. Because you're in your 50s, I'm nearly pushing 50. What led you to that point where you needed a little bit of help?
I really don't know. I think anybody that's known us, I mean, I've been with my wife since I was in my early 20s, probably always said, you need to go and speak to somebody. It's always good advice. Go and speak to somebody. Don't talk to me about it.
So were you not self-aware then, though? Like in your early,
I was, yeah. I had a little bit of a crash in my 20s, but I wasn't. I mean, look, I was no angel, and I had a good time, yeah. And I sampled one or two things, and probably I shouldn't have, which probably affected me in ways I didn't realise. Come from broken home and all that kind of. I was dragged up. You know, I went through the home system and all that. So all of them kind of things kind of clash eventually, yeah. So I probably suffered from a little bit of early depression in the 90s. And then black clouds would often come over me head. And probably I hid it behind this louder-than-life person, you know, centre of the life and soul of the party, last one standing, all the usual shite that you see with blokes quite a lot. But on the top of that, because I'm quite a complex individual, I would still talk about it as well. I'm a heart in your sleeve, passionate person, and I would, even back then, I would talk about, I feel really pissed off, and I would be crying, or, you know, I didn't care really. Whereas, see other men still hiding it, and I knew they were still looking, and I knew they were struggling. So really, for a long time now, and I've kind of. I've always worn it. I've always been open about it, and it's still an uncomfortable subject, even amongst, you know, my mates. Davey's on one again. He's fucking gone. He's rattling on. Bloody hell! they might want to talk about, they don't, or they might not have any issues, but I'm kind of asking the questions still because I feel like it's my duty to look friends in the eye and just say, but are you all right? I always ask them a couple of times. And hopefully, you know, the second answer is something that it's nothing that I want to hear. But I think it's an important thing. Again, we don't do enough. And I don't really know what the pinpoint was to answer your question, Dan, but probably just watching and listening to me here now, I'm a bit of a jumbled wreck of a person. I've got so many emotions in us, you know.
We don't have time when it's obviously, I don't think it's a platform, but for me, just delving into that, I'd love to kind of delve into that deeper, because it's, for me, just trying to recognise personality traits and who people are. You're very kind of outspoken and open, but that tends to, your issues are hidden because people will think you're just flipping and throwing it off as a comment, but actually you're saying it because you want somebody to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of, it's hiding. Even if you're vocal about it, that's still hiding it in a way, because it's not addressing it thoroughly. It's addressing, you're throwing it out and hopefully someone catches it and go, actually, Dave, are you all right? Yeah. You're throwing it out as if it's like a flippant comment and you can joke around it and it's just words and your mate's, oh, he's off on one again. That's not the reaction you really need. The reaction is, fancy a cup of coffee.
I think you're right. Well, you're right. I'm saying you think you're right. You're bang on. And I think people often label it as a cry for help, you know, but sadly, there's a lot of people out there crying for help, but they just don't know how to talk about it. Women are far better at it. You know, I live with women in my house and they're all very good at talking about their emotions. I hear it on a daily basis and I celebrate that, yeah. I just toddle off, walk away and keep note of this one. But, you know, myself, you know, with a man, it's the other way around, isn't it, as you know? And I think there's a lot of men out there crying out for help, but they just don't know how to communicate that cry.
You said you went out to seek help. Did you know where to go?
Did I hell? I think I talked to friends and family many times, but who probably got to the stage I don't really understand what his problem is, because he's like the happiest bloke in the world.
Seems all right.
Minute,
exactly.
And then
this is what I mean. You externalise it all, and you come up with humour and all that kind of stuff. You know,
split personality. It's not that. I think it's just waves of emotions.
It's who you are, though. It's your personality, and that personality is different to somebody else's personality. But this is just how you deal with it and externalise it. You know.
Well, you're right, and I think I took advice from the best person in the world to give us advice, as always, my wife. My wife said, you need to talk to somebody. So I just looked up somebody. It wasn't long before lockdown. And I just found a local therapist and I just went, First session, I've never cried so much in all my life.
Did you expect it to be that easy, though? Because I've had that, you walk in, it disarms you.
I don't know.
Your mouth, it just...
You talk to a stranger about stuff that you delve, you're picking things out your past. It's that pretty, bleak, childhood, and pulling things out that I didn't expect to be saying to a stranger. Cried it all out, and I walked out of there floating on a cloud.
Later.
And every time I went in there, we had to stop doing it after lockdown. Because lockdown came in. Every time I went in there, I felt like I didn't know what else to talk about, and we kind of. It was like I'd got everything out on the table. I've shared all my problems with a stranger and I feel better. And from then, I think I've become a better person. There's no doubt about it. I still have my struggles, especially this time of the year. Yeah. With the change in the seasons, I find it quite difficult to adjust, my sleep patterns, and that affects my mentality and all that. But I have to exercise. Exercise is always my go-to. I have to read. I have to listen to music. I have to game. I have to do all these things that just give me happiness in my life. I have to cook and eat. But what I try to stay away from are the things that maybe send us down the path of the negativity, which is maybe drinking too much and things like that. So I don't drink so much and all that. So I don't know. It sounds like I'm all over the shop and I haven't given you the answer yet, but I seek my own therapy to my own issues, right? Yeah. And I recognise problems in other people and I encourage them to speak about it. And if they don't want to speak about it, I respect that. But what I always say to friends is, if you ever want to chat, honestly, you can come and talk to me about anything. Yeah. And I'm all ears and I'll give you a cuddle and a kiss. Mm-hmm. And I've always been that type of person, really. But I think as I'm getting older, especially as a father, husband, all that kind of thing, I probably try to encourage it more with my kids as well. Does it make you a better person? I don't know, but
I think they're raised in a different world and a different outlook in life and a different way of expressing yourself as well, which is a good thing, you know. But social media is the polar opposite of that, and I think it's going to have that's going to be a massive effect on younger people as well.
Oh, it's worrying.
It's really look what you're not doing. Look who you are not. Do you know what I mean? And you're feeling all the time, every day you open that phone. That's what it looks like.
It's a massive worry. It is a pandemic as well. I think social media is the has such a negative effect on young people's lives now.
Massively.
I went out walking this morning. Every kid I walk past like this, walking down the street, and that breaks me heart a little bit.
My kids are the same. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to rein it in because that little unique space and time of a generation where we were all feeling around the edges as parents as to what was acceptable and what wasn't.
Oh, definitely.
I mean? And then it's caught up with us all, and we've realised the damage it's done.
Well, what the distractions they have as a kid, total off for going around here, I'd expect them too many times, or total off for going outside and kicking the ball against the wall too many times. Not being stuck on your phone for hours and hours, and then looking at content which is getting into your head and making you basically your self-esteem crash. Yeah. And unfortunately, the young ones these days, and older people too, suffer from that because of it. And I think it is a big crash that's going to happen. Like, they need to do a lot more about that kind of thing.
I agree.
Well, if adults are addicted to it, then what chance has a kid got,
It's tough. But you know what? Go back to what you said, Chris. You're on about seed dipping and, the benefits that gave you and gives you. And there's a lot of people very judgmental about what people do in their lives now. A lot of people mock and take the piss and things like that. And I don't like that. I'm always let live and let live. People want to do that because it makes them feel better. Crack on. And you've got to find your own therapy sometimes, because there isn't always people out there to help you.
Yeah.
And if you're, feeling bad, you're feeling tearful, you've got clouds over your head, you feel like you want to do something really, really stupid, you've got to have a release. You've got to have something that save you and stop you from doing that. If that's going to church, champion. If that's eating a 3-course meal, champion. If that's going for a swim in freezing cold, shitey water in the northeast, champion. If it's whatever it is, if it's talking to people, if it's crying, if it's picking up the phone, you've got to do that. And if there's anybody listening to this who is struggling, I'm just imploring you have to do it. And James would have said this when he was on. Sorry, James, didn't listen to your podcast. But he would have said that, we're all about talking and getting people together and sharing problems, and hopefully men shedding that sort of veil of manliness, which will hopefully reveal a softer inner side.
Every person I've talked to, right, and who are completely open and honest and have released their feelings, there's a lightness to them. It's quite an envious thing when you see them, because I've talked to a lot of people who've had loads of issues, but when you own up to, that happened to us, this is the way I feel, and that's my story, there's like a weight that's lifted off the shoulders, and you can see it in them as well. So definitely. I think it does help, but it comes in, I don't know, there's lots of different groups out there for different people,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you as well, because the group thing, I struggle in groups, right? Not in social groups, but like, if I'm doing anything that is if it's around betterment of my own well-being, I think we talked about this going back to a couple of years ago. That's what I'm wondering, because you mentioned space and James, and so you've obviously moved to a place now where you feel much more comfortable doing stuff in groups. Because when we first talked about seed dipping, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. I think I invited you to go and do it. We both sort of like went, no, I just like doing it on my own. I don't like doing it. I'm still the same as well. Stuff, I don't like doing it. I've thought about Ice Guys, and I'm like, nah, because I like to do it myself. No, I do think it's a bit of a contradiction giving me headspace.
Why do you think I get in the ice bath every morning by myself? I go to the gym by myself, I put my headphones in, I lock in, that's me doing my thing at my time.
It's what makes you feel happy. Some people prefer to be with groups of people and doing things together, and that, that's great, I've always been a loner at heart, and I've always been very, bizarrely enough, all these complexities that I'm bringing to the fore here, all that aside, I'm very comfortable in my own company. I'm actually a very happy man inside, and I've just got these dark things that I can't explain, probably linked to me past and all that, which I try to just forget about. That kind of just get in the way and interfere an otherwise very happy life. I've got no complaints. I'm a very healthy person for a man of my age. I look after myself. And I love being on my own. I've got my tunes, my podcasts, my books, my music, my sport, the fresh air. I love being outside, but equally, I love talking to people and sharing their experiences. Listening as well is another one.
Yeah.
Just listening to people and hearing what they've got to say, rather than talking about yourself, which ironically is what we're doing here.
Yeah, but you should
talking about yourself.
No. I kind of because I encourage people. You should be talking about yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that helps as well.
Yeah.
And any therapist will say, "Why are you talking about? We should be I. You're not saying I enough." Do you know what I mean? You should really be talking about who you are. Because you externalize it because you want to push all the things away from you because you don't want the attention on you. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of change the vernacular of that and the rhythm of the words that you use, but dipping in and out of groups that I like. Being on, I'm quite happy as Larry on my own, right? But I like to dip in and out now and again. I can choose when and
Have you
where.
ever had anybody question you for that, though, Dan? Why don't you join in with us?
I do.
Why are you wanting to be on your own? I get it.
All the time.
Since a kid, because of the music you listen to, the haircut and the clothes you wear, from a young person, always the same.
I'm with you there. I mean, nobody likes any of the music I like, or they do, but music's my other obsession.
Yeah.
I've always been a more alternative music fan, I feel like.
Of course, yeah, but then people ask you, where'd you get that from? Because I'm exploring it myself, because I personally want to find out what that is.
Yeah.
And as soon as you put it out in the group, what you listen to that for? Why are you doing that? Where do you get that from? You're like, going, well, I'll just go over there because it's all right over there. No one's questioning this stuff that I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
But you know what? This is a really important point you're making here, and I also want to bring you into this as well. The younger generation. I'm not going to ask your age, but again, somebody who's got young girls. The individualism now should be celebrated. I think one of the great things about this crazy modern world we're living now, because I don't get it. I don't really get the world we're living now. But one of the things I definitely champion and I'm all for are young people now being themselves and celebrating who they are, what they are, and singing it from the rooftops. And sadly, there's still bullying out there. There's still people who get shit for being themselves and doing what they want to do. Me, I'm the other way around. I think, fucking great, man. You're an original person. You're not following the crowd. You're doing what you want. I think when we were young, we followed the crowd a bit more. You want to be with the lads, Oh, I need to be at the match. I need to be into this band. I need to be doing this. I need to be having a fight in the park because my mates are doing it. Even though it makes us feel really uncomfortable. All that kind of thing. Whereas, I look at my eldest daughter now. She's following her own path. She does what she wants. She's a beautiful young woman and she's an individual. And, it's just a great thing. And I think, I hope that continues. I hope, the society that will, there's things happening in society now which I don't really like very much. I hope that side doesn't come in and start oppressing it and bringing it down again. You've sadly seen it over history, many hundreds of years. But that's one thing we need to celebrate more. And there's one thing about modern culture, I think that's a brilliant thing, is individualism is coming to the fore. People are being themselves and they're comfortable in their own skin and they're very happy to celebrate it. Long may that continue, really.
I definitely do that in my house with me little girl because I do things which she goes, that's just weird, did it? I'm like, and now she knows. I says, what's weird? And she said, it's unique. I'm like, yeah, it's unique. Double down on that, be who you are. And I'm the same. I encourage it.
Good lad.
I shout it from the rooftops.
Well, it's great. It's brilliant to hear. And God, I wish people would do that more.
Yeah, it's a positive.
But not just with young ladies, with young ladies. Sorry, Alice. But young women, but also young men too, A young man doesn't need to be, somebody who's a tough and rough and all the time. Accept the individuality, if you're into that music, which some people may question. So who cares? Do you like it? Yeah. I love it. I've been to Smith since 1982. The best band in the world. I would probably be mocked for that in the past. And then from that it became a love affair with many other alternative musics. Obviously, it opened up a door of a passion of music, which I still love to this day. But I think now that, what you're saying there about your daughter and what I'm saying about my daughter, say to your lads as well, be an individual and walk proud and loud about what it is, whatever it is that you're into. Don't let anybody tell you that you're doing something wrong because you're not. You're doing what makes you happy. And if you want to be on your own, great as well. Nobody should be taking the piss out of you for being on your own.
I think we should just trust our instincts as well a bit more, David. It comes from a good instinct. I like that. It just naturally comes to you. But then do that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You just go with this.
Oh, definitely.
I think you really should do it. We do too much of that. I think it should be more of this. You know,
and a lot of judgment. We shouldn't be doing any judgment. And I think that's another thing because people feel bad about it. And again, knocks your self-esteem when people say things which you feel are maybe preying on your insecurities. I feel like So anyway, God, I could go on about this all day.
That's a nice message to end on. Before we hand on to the exciting part of the menu.
Oh, well, I know all about this. Uh-huh.
I need stick me in this WhatsApp group between you and Davey. I think we're going to create a group.
It's a loners group.
No,
so, you're welcome.
It's a group it is, yeah.
I think you should.
We call it that. We should call it that, shouldn't we?
The loners group.
The loners, yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Older blokes, loners group.
I've got to see a new podcast coming up with 3
The old loners, that's a good name for a band as well. Good name for a band. Right, and well, I've listened to everybody. I mean, can I just say straight away, right? I was listening to Kenny Atkins. I was listening to Kenny the other week talking about how he goes to Greg's every day.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to a guy, a Michelin-starred chef, celebrated, brilliant chef, and talking about his pattern for Greg's. And I'm not sure. Honestly, you're going to hate us for it, but I'm not a massive fan. I used to love it back in the day. But I think Tom was, I guess, alluded on it the other week, or somebody recently, about how everything's so expensive now.
Oh, mac and cheese.
And the fillings are terrible. There's hardly anything in them anymore. It's costing you £2 for a cheese pasty.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, we're going to reframe your Greg's order as to what would you have ordered and why wouldn't you order it now?
Well, no. If I do go to Greg's and it would be an emergency, I would always get the same thing. A cheese pasty, right? I remember back in the 90s going to watch, in the Keegan days, going to watch Newcastle, and I remember going to a Greg's. I used to always get 2 cheese pasties and put them in my pocket. I'd have one at half time, and I'd have one at full time, just to soak up the beer, and it'd still be fun. It'd still be hot.
Really?
It'd still be hot. It was either a chemical in there, or the sealant that they put in the pastry, or maybe it was just me.
Your energy.
Me early 90s big coats, I don't know, but me energy, I warming up. But you wouldn't get that now. They'd be freezing cold because they're about that thin. There's not much film in them.
Like
and I'm questioning whether there's like a Pop-Tart. I'm questioning whether there's cheese in there. But anyway, the only things that are worth getting from there are a cheese pasty, and the donuts, and also Christmas time the mince. I always get them 5-pack of mince pies, which are done with not the icing on the top. They've got a pastry top with the icing sugar on. I could smash a whole pack of them with a big cup of tea. But pretty much everything else. Who's it? The musician that you had on not so long ago was talking about the gristly bit in the steak bit.
Catherine.
Catherine. And it put them off. I've had that experience. It's like I'm a once bitten, twice shy person. Like I'm not going back there. I'm the same with restaurants. If I have a bad experience, I'll not be back in there. So sorry, Greggs. I know you're a North East institution, but you're not the same as you were. It's too expensive. You need more fillings in your cheese pasties, but your donuts are great, and so is your mince pies.
Yeah, can you ask them to support us a bit more?
Greggs, you should. These lads talk about Greggs all the time. You need to support them more.
And because we've done this back to front, what's your Greggs order?
That's me, and it's all over the shop there. There's me Greg's order. Well, Kenny was talking about he goes and gets a coffee every day. I'm like, the coffee.
Yeah, but I love his. But what does he say? There's a certain. It's like a backhanded compliment, isn't it? There's a certain type of cheapness to it.
It's cheap, but it isn't cheap, and it's not that good. Sorry, Greg's, but the coffee's not that good. God, I'm sorry I've dug myself a big hole in Greg's now. I'll never get invited in there if they ever wanted somebody in.
You'll be getting the black card, the Greg's card.
Yeah, can you support us more now?
So which one is it you want us to talk about? Yeah, exactly. Can you sponsor them?
Now it's like a ransom now. This is going to keep coming at you.
Yeah, it's going to keep coming at you until like 10 years time. When we stop it, man, they'll just steal it from us like everyone else.
We'll pay with £10 million to take the podcast down.
Can you?
You've had too many people saying horrible things about our pasties. You got no sponsorship from us. Right, I've started. Typical me. I've started somewhere where I shouldn't have. I've mentioned 2 Smith's phrases in there.
I love it.
Where am I starting? Start as.
Mix it up. Anywhere you want there.
You'll know your way around that menu, mate. You go for what you want.
So, because we explain this every time, because it's not very clear, and I cannot explain it.
It is weird, like.
Good.
I like weird.
And you know what way it is, Dave? You know what way it is? Unique.
come from a weird person. Is it weird or is it unique? Exactly. Well, I'm unique. So
I
love it.
And that's good. So pick anything from the menu. Just shout something out.
Can I talk about everything on you?
You can talk about anything. You can start at the bottom, start at the top, whatever you want to do.
So it's top three best ever foods?
No. If you say top three, we'll decide on what that is. What do you think, Davey? Top three.
Go on then. We'll go for top three. Put us on the spot.
Match day foods.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There you go.
You know I'm a food snob. None of them. I used to have Keegan burgers. And again, when Keegan used
What's in
Loads of
there?
hair on them and
What's it like?
You got a firm on it.
there was some questionable hairs in there. We're back in the day when Keegan used to play for in the 80s. Some brilliant marketeer, some guy from Wallsend probably, decided to call his burger van Keegan's Burgers. And there was a queue a mile long outside of it. So you'd always go there for a cheap burger. Mm-hmm. Terrible. But I don't know. Have you ever had
a good cheap burger though?
Hey?
Have you ever had a good cheap burger, right? So I think back in the day, fish and chips down at the coast, the Westless, the steamed burgers.
I remember Westless.
The one in like the water, like it being boiled, like a boiled burger. Something unique about that, but I liked it.
No, that definitely
not a burger, but unique, and I like them.
I'm sorry, but I think I've always been, even though I love proper down to earth, food, egg and everything. I love all that kind of stuff, but it's still got to be good quality. Mm-hmm. And I think even at a young age, I was questioning what was in that burger or in that sausage.
Oh, you questioned it as you ate it.
I don't know.
Taste,
well, I had Keegan burgers.
The taste overrode the thought process. Yeah.
Well,
and that's how we end up.
The tin of Westless burgers that used to just slop out with a gravy, and you'd be like, that's not good. Ooh, that's
tin like that, and have 10 burgers in it. Oh, God, you used to boil them.
Dear me.
Almost as good as a goblin pudding.
Or goblin puddings, or Freya Bentos. Freya Bentos pies.
That's all my granddad in the house, Freya Bentos.
Mm-hmm, Freya Bentos.
The George Foreman used to keep it in the drip tray, and he used to spread that on his bread. Yeah.
Well, Freya Bentos was a famous thing from being a kid. I remember having Freya Bentos in a bun. Freya Bentos pie bun. But pies has to be on there, Chris. Answer your question, because I'm going to digress in this podcast for one about hours.
We'll all do that.
I'm going to get you a pie for your lunch.
So I love pies. Pie's probably my favourite food. So any form of pie, really. But
so
pie would be match day food.
Match day food. So
pie and Bovril is the drink.
All right, okay.
Bovril's gone down, though, hasn't it? Like Bovril flavour.
I think so.
It's not as intense as it used to be.
And also they never stir it properly. Yeah. They never stir it properly. It's always, you get to the bottom and you get left with a big gloop of gel at the bottom. But Bovril and the pie always brings back nostalgic memories of the match. And it always has to be a pack of crisps. And back in the day, it used to be, I think it was a Northeast company, used to do something called Chipmunk Chips. I don't know if you remember that. Chipmunk Crisps.
Chipmunk Crisps.
Well, and there used to be a bloke. All kinds of classic flavours, which will have to come on to crisps, because that's my favourite thing in the world. They used to go around at half time and sell Chipmunk Crisps. They used to go around, sell them. You'd have to go down to the side of the pitch and buy them, And I always get, a pack of salt and vinegar Chipmunk Crisps. I don't know if any...
Chipmunk Crisps?
Chipmunk Crisps.
Because I remember the energy.
No, not Chipmunk flavour.
Hedgehog flavour.
I like hedgehog. I was thinking of hedgehog, and that was like Worcester sauce or something like that.
Hedgehog and chipmunk. No, it wasn't chipmunk flavour. They were just plain old salt and vinegar or ready salted, But there's me 3 match day top threes.
Okay, well... Crisps, top
love
three,
them. I love my crisps. And I'm very traditional. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff around now, like lobster and champagne and all that. I'm like, man. It's like when you're talking about
flavours you can get in.
Chipmunk or hedgehog flavour crisps. It was just beef, wasn't it? Basically. So I'm very traditional person, so I love beef and onion beef crisps, steak crisps, anything with steak.
Remember the Brannigan's ones, mate? Do you remember the Brannigan's ones with the horseradish?
Oh, gorgeous. And they had a bit of a kick to them as well. Beautiful.
Yeah, the horseradish.
Beautiful and sandwich.
For me, the best ones were Roysters, beef roasters were
They were
beautiful.
all right.
I like the crumble. I like it.
See,
now and again, I like a different texture.
I found roasters a bit over. I found them processed, a bit over processed.
Like a ham and mustard McCoy.
I like a McCoy.
Nice. Yeah, because the ridges kind of keeps the flavour, don't it?
Basically, any crisp, anything that crunches and it makes you want to have a massive handful and then continue to eat massive handfuls, even if you're not hungry. That's what crisps are all about.
Yeah.
It's the perfect snack, isn't it? Really, a fried piece of potato.
Yeah.
But beef and onion, top 3 flavour: beef and onion, salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
And cheese and onion, again, very traditional man, I like prawn cocktail, I love them. That's my top 3.
Top 3.
But I'll eat any crisp you want to put in front of us, I'll eat it.
Well, here's a gift for you, right? For your wall.
What's that like?
Just hold it up. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I'll put my gags on. Am I looking at the back or the front?
You're looking at the front. Work for the camera.
Oh, look at that!
Tomato sauce flavour. You got a couple on there. For me, I love the spring onion, and gammon would have been my top 2.
Is that seriously for me, that?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I mean, looking at gammon there, gammon's great. And you mentioned spring onion.
I like spring onion.
On one of your
it's a bit less. It's a little lighter than the old cheese and onion, aren't they? So I do like a spring onion.
And not
as canny bag of cheddar. I mean,
because your humming playing races, that was the theme tune, wasn't it?
It was, we're going up the flight of stairs in the block of flats. But Tudor crisps obviously sadly fallen foul of more popular crisps fronted by ex-footballers.
Now, but the boring one there.
But they're not the same.
Show that camera
Shout out to Laura from Wild North. That's an original print as well that you did for us.
Well, Laura, honestly, I don't know who you are, but I absolutely love you. That is a work of art.
He's done that for us with a pink slice as well. Also available in wrapping paper.
Oh, really? The pink slices from Laura as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to look Laura up on the back of this because that is fantastic.
We'll show you the wrapping paper at the
that.
end. We've got that. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, again, anybody that knows us will know that's like the perfect gift. You give us because I love crisps, and obviously I love chewed. I love northeast stuff, So, well, I'm genuinely flattered by that. Thank you very much.
Mate, I knew you'd like it.
Thank you, Laura.
You come dressed similar to spring onion flavour, right?
That's what it's called. Spring onion dip.
Spring onion dip. Yeah.
Some people have a mild whiff of spring onion about them. Well, that's getting framed. That's going on in the kitchen.
There you go.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy it.
No,
that's amazing. That's
a nice one to end on, I think.
No more questions on the menu.
Go on, take one more question. Go on.
We've talked about Chris, haven't we? I like Popman there. Oh God, it's a tough one, isn't it? Last meal.
I was going to ask you that if you didn't go for it.
So last meal, it's a tough one, and it does change. I think a little bit like your favourite song or your favourite movie changes depending on your mood. I can imagine if it was my last meal, I'd be in quite somber mood. If I was on, say, a death chair or something like that.
It depends. I imagine if you don't know how you're going to die, you just know it's going to happen. So therefore, what is your meal? But you can only have 2 courses. What would it be?
Well, the 2 courses would probably be the start would probably be something like I love crab, so it'd be like a fresh crab, freshly dressed crab, just all in the shell, and a bit of mustard, mayonnaise, bread, and thick salty butter on the side. Wholemeal bread, please.
Wholemeal bread.
I'm going about to die. Make sure it's wholemeal. So that would probably be my starter. I love that. Kind of crabs. I'm not championing them enough, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I love them.
Poor cousin to the lobster. And then followed by steak and chips. Again, very traditional. I love steak and chips. Not only a Ponzi fillet steaks, has to be a good sirloin.
I agree.
And medium rare. Again, a bit of English mustard on the side. And
style of chips.
Sorry?
What style of chips?
Oh, proper chips, yeah. None of that Jenga rubbish, where it's still raw in the middle. Just a good chip with the skin still on, and mushrooms, tomatoes, and fried onions on the side.
Full on traditional.
Oh,
love it.
And lots of butter, just salty butter. I'm not a big sauce person on a steak.
I just like butter, but I like that tomato as well. And the mushroom, because I think it just a little acidity.
Well, it makes you feel a bit more healthy. Have you had one of those pink slices?
Honestly, I have to say this before we wrap this up, because you said it, right? He said he was a coffee aficionado.
Aficionado?
Yeah.
I'm not like.
It's one of our words that we like to use on the podcast.
I just
And
say to people, I say to people who work in coffee shops, make me look impressive just because I've got a decent machine at home. But I do buy me. I've bought my coffee for many years from a local roastery, and I still celebrate them. Can I mention them?
Yeah, of course.
Fika and Durham. I've been championing them for years. I remember I went cycling years ago and I went through a car park down in Seaham Harbour somewhere, and there was a woman selling coffee from a van. It's like, oh God, it was like a mirage in the desert, seeing this coffee place. And there was nobody there. And I went, oh, can I have a double espresso, please? I'm like, Jesus, that's good coffee. What's the brand? He went, oh, Fika, they're just round the corner in Durham. I was like, Fika coffee. So I looked them up, ordered from them, never looked back.
Really?
And there's people who buy from, decent places, small farms, they look after them and give them a good price. They buy them whole green and they roast them on order as it should be. They put the roast date on the side as every coffee should be. You never buy coffee that has a sell-by date on it because you don't know when it was roasted. And I've not had any better coffee really, so I still go to them all the time.
Shout out.
Fika.
Get them on.
Yeah.
Get them on.
Yeah.
Love it.
And if you too want to be an aficionado member of the Patreon podcast, patreon.com/Local Heroes VIP. Become an aficionado member.
Sponsored by Greg's.
No.
How can we not end on that?
Cheers, lads. I've loved that.
Thank
Thank you very much.